We are recording, so you are good to go.
Okay, yay! Hi, friends. So excited to have you in cooking class today, in my kitchen, in your kitchens, and living rooms and bedrooms, wherever you're watching from. So today our class is geared towards a little bit of the older kids. We do a younger kiddo class where we read a story and make a snack on Monday, but today it's geared towards our 6 and above. But if you have younger ones watching and helping, that's fine. We'll go over some items that they can do too. And today we're just gonna make a fun salsa and guacamole. Two recipes that I think are great for kiddos to get involved with, making it from scratch, learning where all the ingredients come from, how to mix flavors, to make a yummy, delicious dip that's their very own and that they can eat. So that's what we're gonna be doing together. If you grow vegetables outside or herbs outside, this is a great way to use what you might pick from your garden and be able to make it into a yummy dish that you can eat. So let's first talk about kitchen safety. So before we start cooking, we're gonna wash our hands with soap and water, scrub all those germies off. I did that right before we started. And you probably did or might be going to do that. So we'll keep our hands nice and clean. Also, if you're cooking for other people, it's a good idea to wait until the end to eat. But if you're just cooking for yourself or your family, it's kind of fun to try the items. And if you're home, you can do that. We do say a magic word at the end that we'll say together before we eat. And then my most important rule is we have to have fun in the kitchen. This is a fun activity that we get to do together. If you do have any questions, just let me know and I'll stop and pause, but we'll get started. So first you need a cutting board. I have my cutting board down. Sometimes even for little ones, I'll give them just a little plate, plastic plate or something to cut on as well. But if you have a cutting board, that's a good surface that you can cut on. Let's talk about knives. So the goal is to use a chef's knife. However, there are a variety of knives that kids can use, all different ages, where you can start to practice and have safe knife skills. For parents, I like to say, make sure your knives are sharp because pushing down really hard, you are more likely to get injured. And for kiddos, I might not use a knife that's, my 8-inch chef's knife, but I would maybe use a smaller utility knife, like I saw some of you have. I have this small utility knife that we like to use a lot with my 7-year-old. Sometimes my 4, almost 5-year-old can use it as well. Of course, for younger kiddos that are practicing and learning, we have a practice knife. It's a lettuce knife. You can find them on Amazon. I also have a bunch available if anybody wants one in the neighborhood. And then I also use just a steak knife. As you can see, it has ridges, so it's gonna cut. This is great for some of our younger helpers in the kitchen. And then if you have even just a plastic disposable knife, that's great for our little ones, maybe our 3-year-olds, preschoolers. They can use, they can cut, we can learn about safety and still not hurt ourselves. So when we're holding a knife, it's important to hold it by its handle. Some people hold it back like this, but that's actually not how you want to hold it. You want to grip up on your knife. You want to have your thumb on one side of the blade and your finger on the other side. That way, the knife is like an extension of your arm. You have the most control over your knife. Your wrist is right in line, and you can use your knife safely. The proper way to chop is keeping contact with the cutting board, point down, push forward. It's almost like a rocking motion. Sometimes we watch cooking shows and we see chefs chopping really fast. They're not chopping like this. They're chopping like this. And it's very safe and controlled. So that's a good thing to practice, that motion of pulling. I'll do it sideways so you can see. Pulling back, pushing forward, pulling back, pushing forward. You guys got that? I like to see you guys practicing. Good job. So we kind of got a little handle on the knife hand. Let's talk about the hand that's holding our ingredients. Very important. We don't want to cut our fingers, right, friends? That's not part of the recipe ingredients. So what I like to say is we do a claw grip. So we tuck our fingers like this And you can even make your claw faces. Let me see your faces. Oh, good, Sophie. I like that. Good, good. So we have our claw grip. Now we can hold our ingredient, like I'm holding the tomato here, and my knuckle is gonna be the guide to cut. So you can see my knuckle is now guiding rather than my little fingers being out there. Ouch, we don't want that. Tuck it in and the knuckle guides. Does that make sense, friends? Yes, shake your head. All right, cool. All right, so just a couple of tips when in the kitchen with your knives. Good? All right, now we're gonna be cutting some things that are round in shape. It's always good to try to make a flat surface. So you can see my tomato here has a really round side, and then it has the side where the vine came out, so it's flat. So we don't wanna have the round side down because it's gonna wanna roll around. We wanna put the flat side down so that it stays in place. I can hold it and slice it from there. And if parents, if you're helping younger ones, you could even maybe cut the tomato in half and put it down flat surface first. And that's actually what I'm gonna do. So we have half of tomatoes going straight. So let's talk about our ingredients real fast before I dive in. So for salsa, the main ingredient for salsa today are tomatoes. Of course, you can change it up and make all different kinds of salsas. But today we are gonna have tomatoes in our salsa. We're gonna use onion. We're gonna talk about a cheap way to cut an onion so it doesn't make us cry. You can get it done a little quicker. We're gonna use bell peppers, and I have little mini bell peppers today. The recipe we sent out called for a mango. I couldn't find a mango, but do any of you guys have mangoes in your kitchen? Nope, yeah, nope, it's hard to find mangoes, exactly. Okay, no worries, that's okay. We could use pineapple instead. We could leave it out, add corn. I mean, there's so many different variations, but it's okay that we don't have mangoes. We can adapt. We also are gonna use lime juice. I couldn't find a lime at the store. Picked a lemon off my tree, but I had some lime juice in my fridge. A little bit of garlic. We're gonna talk about how to cut the garlic. And then the flavor profile of salsa and using fresh herbs, we would use this herb. Does anybody know what this herb is? Can you guess? Can you smell it? What is it? Is it cilantro? Thumbs up? Yeah, good job. It's cilantro. All right, awesome. And then some salt and pepper. So those are the ingredients we're gonna be using today, okay? All right, so for our tomatoes, we're gonna dice them. There's a couple of different cuts that we're gonna talk about. There's a chop, a dice, and a mince. So chop would be bigger, then dice, then mince. And when we cut, we want to try to make our cuts uniform. Today we're not cooking what we're gonna be cutting, but if you were, let's say we're gonna cut onions and carrots and celery to make a soup, we would want all the onions to be cut the same size. Does anybody know why we would want that? Why we want all of our ingredients to be cut the same size? Does anybody know? Can you raise your hand? I can't see, but. I want them all to be the same size so that they cook evenly. We wouldn't want to cut one onion really big and one onion really small because the big one is going to take longer to cook than the small one. So for something like a salsa, we're not necessarily cooking it, but we want them all to be the same size just so it looks pretty. We eat with our eyes before our stomachs, and so we want to make it look uniform and pretty. If it doesn't matter. This is our salsa. We're eating at home. It's for us. So we're just going to practice cutting it today. Sound like a plan? Okay. So we are going to first dice our tomato. So I cut mine in half. I'm putting it flat side down. Let's do that first. And then we're just gonna slice it all one direction together. So I'm just slicing it all one way. And tomatoes. The recipe called for Roma tomatoes. I found tomatoes on the vine. It's okay, use whatever you might have. So I cut it all one direction. I'm gonna fillet my tomatoes, and now I'm gonna make my claw grip, and we're gonna cut it all the other direction. And if you find it hard to keep it all together and cut it down, you can break it apart and cut it from there. And parents, if you have little ones that you're helping too, if you wanna do a couple of slices and then have them slice it down from there, go for it. So our tomatoes are gonna be chopped. You can take out the seeds if you would like. I kind of like my salsa to be a little bit more runny and liquidy, so I'm gonna leave them in. I'm gonna transfer it to my bowl. And when I do that, let me do this again. We're gonna cut down our tomato again. There we go. Using the back of my knife to gather it all together onto the knife and putting it into the bowl rather than the blade, so we don't hurt ourselves. Back of the knife into the bowl. So we'll do that with 1 tomato. How are you guys doing over there for all my friends that are cooking? Looking good.
I'll unmute a few people.
Okay. Do we have any questions before we go on?
In McDonald's, 66%. Today, 51%.
Some are auto muted.
We're unmuted. Okay, guys. Do you guys have any questions?
No. Mommy, I got my 1 tomato.
Oh, good. That's perfect. Go ahead and get the others. So you have to turn it and do the other side. This way. Go the opposite.
I accidentally almost cooked my knife.
Oh, the turn. There you go. That way.
Good job, Kaden and Sophie. That looks good, but.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody else cooking live?
I think Layla is.
Layla, are you cooking too?
Yes.
How's it coming?
Good.
Good?
She's not cooking.
Any questions so far? You're good. Okay, awesome. All right, so bell peppers. You guys have your bell peppers? Yes, what color are
Let me
they?
help you. Stop. Let me help you, bud.
Sophie, what color is your bell pepper?
No, that's it.
Ours are green.
Yours are green. Okay, good. Bell peppers can be green or yellow or red or orange. They come in all different colors. So mine is just a smaller version of yours. For your bell pepper, you can put it on its side, right? We're gonna find the flat surface, and we're first gonna cut off the top of the bell pepper, the lid there. And then if there's seeds, you can scrape out the membrane by cutting out the seeds and pulling those out and discarding them. And then you can take your bell pepper and cut it in half lengthwise. And now we kind of have more flat surfaces that we can lay down. And if you have multiple kids helping you, like Adrian, maybe cut yours in quarters and then maybe slice them, and Remy can cut those, dice those up. Awesome. So I'm gonna slice mine into slices. This is another kind of cut that we can use in the kitchen. So we have nice slices, but today we want them diced because we're gonna put them into our salsa. So I'm lining them all up, as you can see. I'm turning them sideways. I'm gonna practice my claw grip, and then we're gonna dice them down. So instead of bell pepper, which is not spicy at all, for my kids' cooking classes, we don't use spice, we could use jalapeno pepper. And jalapeno pepper is spicy, but the part that brings the spice are the seeds. So if you wanted to add a little bit of kick to your salsa, you could certainly use jalapeno pepper. But today, we'll stick with our bell pepper. And as you can see, I have mine diced up. I'm gonna add them to the bowl. So go ahead and slice them all one direction. Turn them sideways and then dice them. I left that little guy out. All right. How are our bell peppers coming along, friends? They good? Layla, is yours good? Give me a thumbs up.
I'm muting. There we go.
Awesome. Awesome. Good job, friends. All right. So far in my bowl, I have my tomatoes and my bell pepper. If we had mango, that would add a sweetness to our salsa. Mangoes can be a little bit hard to cut because they have a big pit in the middle that are hard to get out, not like avocados. Avocados pits are easy to get out, but let's pretend like this was a mango and we know the pit's in the center. What I would do is I would cut alongside of each pit. I'm just gonna pretend like this is a mango. This would be my mango, And then I would score it, meaning there's a skin on the outside. I would cut the inside all one direction, then I would cut it all the other direction without piercing the skin, and then I would pop it out, and it would have squares of mango that we could use a spoon to scoop into our salsa. That's what we would do if we had a mango. You can store that away for a rainy day or a day in the summer when we have mangoes.
Don't
Okay.
worry, if you make it later on, you can go back and rewatch the video.
Exactly. There we go. All right. Onions. Who loves cutting onions? Anyone? If you do, you are welcome to come to my house any day. So you could use, today I have a red onion. Red onions are great raw when we're making a salsa or a guacamole, any kind of raw salad. But you could also use a yellow onion here as well. It'll taste yummy too. So onions have peels on them. You see the peels? We don't want to eat that part, right, friends? So I'm gonna cut at the top of my onion, and I'm gonna peel it off a little bit. So once we touch the onion, we do not want to touch our eyes, our face. I guess maybe during this time of Corona, we should just pretend like we have onions on our hands all day long. Okay, so I have my onion peeled. I left on the bottom stem. And what I'm gonna do to cheat cut my onion, and this is really good for parents. For younger kids, what I would do is I would maybe cut the onion in half and then slice it down and give everybody a wedge that they can then dice down the onion. But if you're better with knife skills, then this is a fun way to cut an onion. So I have my root intact here, and I'm simply gonna cut my onion down in strips going one direction, all the same width. And I'm gonna turn it and do it this way. And if you have a hard time not cutting all the way through, you could add a pair of chopsticks down here or 2 pencils, and it'll stop your knife. So I have slits going all one direction. You guys see that? We're gonna turn it now so the slits are perpendicular to me, and we're gonna do it all the other direction, just like this. I'm gonna turn that the other way and slice it down a little bit more. I'm gonna slice off the last piece. So now I have a flat surface on its side. So as you can see, they're cut one direction and cut the other direction like a checkered board. Again, if you are doling this out for little ones, go ahead and slice off wedges and let them dice it down themselves. Totally up to you. Now, I'm going to hold it like such. Clear off my cutting board here. And we're simply just gonna dice it down. So now they're all the same size, and it cuts down really easily. This is a very fast, cheap method of cutting onions. There we go. All right, so now I have my onions. I'm not gonna use all of this for our salsa. I'm just gonna use a little bit of it. And let's say we wanted it to be minced or cut even smaller. We can pile it all together and simply run our knife over it like this, and we can bring it even smaller into cuts. We can do it a couple of times, really dice that down. All right, anybody eyes watering from their onion yet? Mine just started to. Nope, you guys are strong over there. I like it. All right, so I'm gonna add just a little bit of onion to our salsa. And we'll save some for our guacamole. All right, so we have our tomatoes, bell peppers, onion, and we'll scoot the rest of the onion. All right. Who can remind me what this is? Garlic, different than onion, right? So garlic comes in a bowl, and then we can peel it. I'm gonna cut off some of that peel. And now we have cloves of garlic inside. You guys see that? All right, so we're gonna take our clove of garlic, and it still has its own special wrapper on it. And these wrappers can be hard to peel off. It's a good activity to give little ones in the kitchen to keep them occupied. to peel it off. I'm just gonna put that down there. But the easiest way to get off the peel would be to put the garlic on your cutting board, put the knife with the blade away from you, put it down, and then press. You'll hear a little crunch, and now the garlic will be easier to peel the skin off. It just comes right off. So I'll do it one more time. Press, and then it peels right off. There it is, you can see. Just like that. Whoops. All right. Do you guys have your garlic ready to go? Yes, all right. Layla, you have your garlic ready? Thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So our garlic, we want to mince. We don't want a big piece of garlic in our mouth. We want just tiny flavors of garlic. So to mince our garlic, we're going to cut it down all one direction, slice it, and then we're going to pull it together, change the direction, and mince it down. And that is where we can practice doing what I told you, kind of gathering it all together. You guys can see that, right? And then mince it down. So just run your knife over it a bunch of times. Some people have fancy garlic mincers in their kitchen. You could certainly use that too, but I like the practice of mincing garlic. The other thing you could use too is if you don't have fresh garlic, but you have garlic powder, you could use maybe half a teaspoon of garlic powder in its place. So we know we need garlic for our guacamole later. So maybe go ahead and mince up the garlic for now and for the guacamole later. And those are things I like to think about when I'm cooking. The first thing I do is, and I should have said this in the beginning, is mise en place. That means get everything in its place. So I look at my recipe and I make sure I have all my ingredients, and then I start cooking. But before I do that, I read over the recipes just to kind of see what I'm gonna need to do. Do I need to preheat my oven? Do I need pots and pans? Do I need to boil water? So if you can kind of look through and know what's coming, it'll help the process go easier. Okay, so knowing I need some garlic for the guacamole, I'll save a little bit of my minced garlic. We'll go ahead and scoop up the minced garlic. Do you see how the mince is smaller than our dice and our chop? We'll add that in. All right. When you're working with garlic, your hands can get kind of sticky, right? Do you see inside the bowl now? All right. Wonderful. So I have my garlic saved for later. I have some onions saved for later. Now we need some fresh cilantro. Do you guys have cilantro? Yeah, awesome. Good. Okay. So a great activity for littles to help with in the kitchen would be to de-stem the cilantro. So take it off of its stem, pinch by pinch, work on those dexterity, the finger skills, fine motor skills with your pinchers, and peel it off. If you don't want to pinch it off, it's okay. You can just bundle it all together. The stems can get chopped up, and that's totally fine too. So what we are going to do is take our cilantro, put it in a pile all together, and I'll let you guys kind of work on that. I got my cilantro outside from our little herb garden. We have cilantro and basil, thyme, oregano. Trying to think what else, the parsley. And it's great to be able to grow it yourself. All right. And does anybody have backyard little herb gardens? Yeah. Awesome. Oh,
Amelia, it looks like Amelia does as well. Letting me in.
That's a thumbs up from Amelia. That's awesome. I like that feature.
Yeah.
So the way I know when I need to water my herb garden, the first indicator is the basil starts to wilt. And as soon as the basil starts to wilt, I know, uh-oh, it's too late, I need to water. And that's, the basil is what talks to me the most in the garden to tell me when it's time to water. All right, so I have all my cilantro. We're gonna kind of gather it in a pile and kind of squish it all together, roll it all together to a big wad. You see it? Okay. Then we're gonna take our knife, make our claw grip. We're simply just gonna drop it down. This is a great area where you can practice the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Or again, if you have little ones, they can simply just tear it apart with their fingers. Then we're gonna wad it together again and do it again. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you kind of just have to keep going until you get it down to the size you want. All right, so I got my cilantro, and I'm gonna save a little bit again for my guacamole. We'll put it down in there. All right, it's starting to be very beautiful and colorful as well. All right, now our citrus. So far we have lots of different flavors that we're putting into the bowl. We want to bring it all together with a nice hint of citrus. And like I said, usually I would use a lime, but today I'm going to use a lemon just for demonstration purposes. So we have a lemon, picked it off the tree. Sometimes it's a little hard. What we want to do to get the most juice out of our citrus is to put it on the table, take our hands, and roll it back and forth. We're loosening up those juices to make it easier to juice. So roll it back and forth, back and forth. Good job. You could also put it in the microwave for 10 seconds, but I like this method better. There you go. Good job, guys. All right. Then we simply are going to cut it in half. And if there are seeds that you see that you can get out, you can kind of pick those out if you wanted. I like to squeeze it, but when I squeeze it right side up. So then the juice pours over, but I keep the seeds in the lemon or lime, ideally lime. Oh, I think I just got one in there. All right. So add all that juice in there, squeeze it in. Good way to use your muscles. And it smells really good. Did you lose one, Aiden? Caden? Did I say Aiden? All right. Perfect. Add all that juice in. Doesn't really change the look. Now we're going to add in our salt and pepper. With salt, I would probably add about a teaspoon. I have my little salt cellar here, and I like to use my fingers and kind of feel visually how much I need. You can use your measuring spoon, scoop it up, and add it in. Same with the pepper. And we'll stir it all together. And we have a nice chunky salsa. So before I eat it, I would probably put it in the refrigerator to chill it to make it extra cold. If you decide, oh, I don't like chunky, you could always put it in a food processor and blend it, make it all more uniform. But I like a nice chunky salsa. So there we have it. Sound good? Our salsa? We'll move on to our guacamole. But before we do that, I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Let me unmute and we'll do some questions.
Want to take a bite?
The
salsa?
Yes, and if you want to try it, try it, see if you need to add anything to it.
I foresee nachos in some of these kids' features with some chips, cheese, and salsa over the top.
What was that?
I said I foresee nachos in some of these kids' features.
I think nachos would be a great lunch to have today.
Right. Does anybody have any questions for Chef Shayna as you guys are finishing making things before we move on to guacamole? I see everyone really stirring and mixing up at the top.
I know, they're working hard.
Like a home ec class.
I love it.
Roll it.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and mute all the kids again, and then we'll get started on guacamole.
Okay, so for guacamole, we need avocados. Avocados are also called alligator pears because if you feel them, they feel like alligators. Not that I've ever touched one, but what I imagine an alligator would feel like. When you're buying them at the store, you want to make sure that they're firm. And if you want to eat it right away, maybe it has a little bit of give to it. When it's squishy, it's already too late. But what I like to do at the store, I'm the crazy lady at the store that is picking the pit. So if you see the little pit here at the avocado, you can peel it back and then you can peek inside and you can see if it's green, yay, it's good to buy. If it's brown, eek, it's probably already brown inside. So that's my little trick for buying avocados at the store. I also love to buy the avocados from Costco because there's 6 in a bag and the bag is like $5. It's the best price I found on avocados. Not that you're going out shopping, but for future. All right, so cutting the avocado. I do use a sharp knife and I hold the avocado in my hand. This is something I don't advise younger kiddos to do because you need a lot more hand coordination. So for younger kiddos, we could put it down on the table, cut around the pit. So there is a big pit in the middle, so we can kind of seesaw the knife around the pit and then flip it over and seesaw it around the pit again. That would be something maybe parents should help out with when we open it up. Oh, it's a beautiful avocado. You can do the happy dance. There's also a pit here. To get the pit out, I take my knife and I hit it. Again, not something I would have kiddos do at home. You could try, actually no, I would just have parents help with this process. Take it out and then use a rag or a dish towel to pull it away, like such. Let's let parents do that. We've been doing science experiments at our house where we put sticks in our pit. We put it in a little bit of water and we're trying to see if we can get it to grow back. So far, no luck, but maybe this will be the lucky avocado. All right, so if you are older and do use knives well, and even if you're younger, maybe use your steak knife or your plastic knife, you can hold it and simply draw lines one direction and then go the other direction. And that is how we would chop our avocado. You could peel off the peel and now you have nice diced avocado to use in a recipe or as a garnish. Today we're making guacamole, so we are just gonna squish our avocado. And my favorite way to do that is simply just squeeze it out. Push it together and squeeze it out. Get all of it out, just like that. And we'll do it with the other one. Squeeze it out. And there we have it. Smush it all out. We can't let any go to waste.
Shayna, I wanted to mention, I remembered for parents with little kiddos, Trader Joe's does carry the avocado already out of the peel. It's called just avocado in the thing. So like parents that may want to make this but may not want their kids to be doing that because their kids are too young for it, they do have that as an option where you can get it and it's just the avocado out of the peel.
Perfect. I love that. There you go. Awesome. Or again, you could, little ones could just peel the skin off and then take it off with a spoon and push it in too. So another option, so that we don't have to use a knife against our hands or anything like that. When I teach my kids classes, I usually will take it all out, just give them the avocado so then they can cut it or mash it. I don't have them do that whole process. 12 and above, I would suggest. All right, so we have our avocado in a bowl. I'm making a small serving of it today, but you could use 2 avocados, 3 avocados, depending on who you're serving up. I'm giving it to my little ones as their afternoon snack. So I'm just gonna go with 1 avocado for today. Then we're gonna add in our onion. So I have some of my onion already diced. We'll add that right in. And if you want to mince it even finer before you add it in, go for it. Then our garlic. So we already minced our garlic cloves. We'll put that in there. And here, if you even want to add, I mentioned garlic powder. I like to add some garlic powder as well. So add a little bit of that in there. All right, then you can also chop up your tomato and add it in. I like to sometimes just add some salsa, and since we already have some chopped up tomatoes, I'm gonna just go ahead and add those in. But you're chopping along at home, go ahead and practice chopping your tomato one more time. It's a good way to practice. All right, then we need to add our lime juice. Limes are green. This isn't a lime, but we're pretending. And then our salt and pepper. And you could also add, so some of the flavor profiles that go along with our salsa and our guacamole would be chili powder, cumin, even a little bit of paprika if you wanted, but I wouldn't go there. I would do the chili powder and the cumin to add some more flavor as well. And if you like some kick to it, of course you could add, spicier flavors as well. A little bit of cilantro in there. And then we're gonna take a fork and we're just gonna mash it all together. And again, if you like more of a finer guacamole, go ahead and mince that onion down smaller. And you could even practice mincing the tomato smaller as well. And then I always recommend you taste as you go, amend the flavors as necessary. Add what you think you might need. So I'm gonna grab a spoon, I'm gonna taste mine, I'll tell you what I think it might need. I actually think it's pretty good. And there you go. We have guacamole, we have our salsa, and we're gonna serve it up with some chips. You could also have a Taco Tuesday. It's not Tuesday, is it? We'll pretend. Taco Tuesday night. Yeah, exactly, yes. I couldn't find a lot of ingredients at the stores, but I did find this ingredient. Can anybody guess what this might be? I already sliced it a little bit. The funky one. I'll open it up. It's a watermelon radish. Look how beautiful it is. No, it looks like an art project. It has this beautiful red color, and you slice it with the green around the edge, hence the watermelon. But this is a fun way to eat some veggies as you dip into your guacamole. Of course, you could use jicama slices as well, carrots maybe, or just good old-fashioned tortilla and chips. But I found this at the store and I really wanted to share it with you because I thought it was fun. Just serve it up like that. Yummy. All right, so we have our dips that we've made together. I've had so much fun cooking with you. But tell me, what questions might you have?
Okay, so I'm gonna unmute everyone that's still here for any
questions?
No.
No questions?
No questions? Sophie, let me see what you made. Can you hold it up for me?
We're getting there.
Whoa, that looks good, girl. Yumma, yumma.
Let's add some tomatoes to it.
All right.
That's the tomato?
Can I do it?
Okay. Brittany, any questions?
There you go. Try that.
I don't have any in the group chat, but it seems like you guys, went through everything. If no one has any questions, I'm gonna mute. If no one has any questions, I will stop the video in a minute. It sounds like everyone's gonna be enjoying some chips and salsa this afternoon, at the very least, if not some nachos.
Yeah, head outside, enjoy the beautiful weather, and eat your chips and salsa in your backyard.
There you go, in your backyard. Well, then I will go ahead and stop this meeting, or stop the recording, and then if anyone, we'll let everyone chat for a second, and then we'll see everyone next time. So here we go.
Yay. Is it good, Kaden?